皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Let's Ask Seki Sensei. I'm your host Shogo from Let's Ask Shogo and this is Seki Sensei. よろしくお願いします。
お願いいたします。
ついにですね、ちょっとオンラインレッスンのメンバーの方から同好会長という方がついに出てきたということで、
We are very happy to announce that Steven and Daniel have become the first club leaders in our online lessons. A club leader is someone who has reached the 3rd Dan rank, participated in the annual training camp in Japan, and passed the club leader exam. They act like assistant instructors, helping Seki Sensei teach beginners the basics. In this video, Seki Sensei will share his thoughts on these two students, and I will interview them with 5 questions about training in Asayama Shinryu. After the interviews, Seki Sensei will give an important message to Steve and Daniel and future club branch leaders. Be sure to watch until the end. By the way, tickets for the 3-day training camp in Japan held by Seki Sensei and Let's Ask Shogo are now on sale. Check out our Patreon page for more information. Let's start by asking Seki Sensei what he thinks of Steven and Daniel.
スティーブンはね、ダニエルもそうなんだけどね、すごく寡黙な人っていう印象があったんです。だけど合宿でね、会ってみたら全然そんなことなくて、割とスティーブンさんも陽気な感じで、まあ真面目なんでしょうね。
そうですよね。
ダニエルさんもそう。ダニエルさんの方がもっと寡黙なんかなと思ったけども、実際会ってみると少年みたいな人でね。ただお二人ともね、合宿ではこう相手と組んでやるってことの難しさを今触れたぐらいのところだからね。だからこれからもねセミナーでどんどん稽古していただいてね。はい。期待してます。
はい、ありがとうございます。はい。
Steven and Daniel joined our online lessons almost right after we started in 2023. They've participated in almost all of our live lessons, and they've also joined events like the annual training camp and overseas seminars, training with Seki Sensei in person. Because they are very dedicated students, Seki Sensei has high expectations for them. He hopes they will also train more with partners to continue improving their skills. Next, let's move on to the interviews. The first question I asked was, why did you start training in Asayama Shinryu?
The Ruha, I would say luck mostly. It was a time in my life. I was looking for a new routine, a more constructive daily routine, and Iaido was something, kenjutsu more so, but Iaido too is something that I've been interested in for many years, and it was just that time in my life. I was looking around. I bought a kobudo and was just looking at random videos, and I happened to come across you and your channel, and that your video on teaching how to wear how to put on a hakama. That's where I learned how to put this on. So
Really?
Yeah. So it was just luck. I don't know. Your channel popped up, and I started following you right at the time that you were introducing the online dojo. So it was good timing.
Why wasn't it the other Ryu Hasawas? Why did you choose Asayama Shinryu, by the way?
Well, so I was looking into just the general Iaido, the ZNKR stuff, and I did that for a couple months just on my own, and it was feeling very rigid and not like there wasn't much soul into it in it for me. So when I found your videos introducing Sensei and just watching how he was performing his kata, it was inspiring, and like it put a fire in my heart to learn it. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's learn this.
I was born around the time that the Karate Kid movie came out, and my name is Daniel. So all of my life I've been Daniel-san. Everybody kind of. So I'm going to say that played a big part in my interest in martial arts and Japanese culture, because, of course, a lot of that movie was about Mr. Miyagi and teaching Daniel, the ways of karate, and there were some cultural parts thrown in there as well. I also grew up around the time that ninjas, samurai, really big in America. So of course, that's something I've always wanted to train. Yeah, I want to train in the katana. I want to train, with a Japanese sensei. How cool would that be? So fast forward to a little over a year, almost 2 years ago. Wow, it's been a while. I've been a follower of Let's Ask Shogo, and I love your culture.
Thank you.
I love your takes on culture. I like to hear your perspective on things. You know, you explain things very well. And then you started collaborating with Seki Sensei. You know, let's ask Seki Sensei. And I was like, this is really cool. This guy, this is what I imagine a master's like. This guy knows his stuff. He explains it well. Super impressive. Well, then shortly after that, you guys announced, well, we're going to start training online. And I'm like, holy crap, I've been wanting to do this for like since forever, you know? You can't train like this, you know, at least where I'm from, but generally outside of Japan, you know, you'd have to travel to Japan to train with someone like Seki Sensei. So I was like, once in a lifetime opportunity, let's do it. But then, you know, as things grew in the class, I got more involved, you know, things have become more involved. I would guess so, but the reason I started training is because when I was watching Seki Sensei, you know, even before the classes started, I was already like, I want to learn this. This is something that this is one of the coolest EI, you know, katana skilled masters that I've ever, you know, observed. And the way he explains things was incredible.
The second question I asked was, how has training Asayama Shinryu changed you?
It was successful in helping me, you know, have a more constructive routine, a healthier routine. I do this training probably 5 times a week, and I've started incorporating kickboxing and other exercising stuff into my routine. It's done a lot of other things for me, just as far as like my mental outlook and how I approach things in my daily life. It's helped overall improve my well-being.
I would say initially not much, but as time has went on, the more involved and in depth we've gotten, the more we've trained, the longer we've trained, the more times I've trained with Seki Sensei, I've changed a lot, a whole lot. Like I signed up for classes like within a week of you guys announcing it, but I didn't show up for a live class until it was like a month or 2 in. Like I'd been following along with the archives and training on my own, but I hadn't really jumped in and really committed to it because of work and a few other things. But I managed to rearrange my schedule. I got to a live class, and I'd say that the change happened almost immediately after that live class, because as soon as I joined, within the first 15 minutes, Seki Sensei immediately noticed that I was new and picked something out that I needed to work on. Like immediately he knew that I was gripping incorrectly. And I was like, I've been following along as best as I can this whole time, and I never noticed. It's like sometimes I think when you are training along, I know you guys have spoken on this before, you don't see the mistakes you're making because you just go, oh, well, I'm doing it all right. I'm doing it the way that I think I should be. But yeah, that was a huge change for me. As soon as I had that experience, I was like, okay, I got to get in class. I got to be in class as much as I can so I can get feedback, sensei to teach me, you know, the right way to do these things. To sum up, I'd say it's given me a sense of purpose, meaning, discipline, things that have been kind of lost for me over the years. You know, when I first started training martial arts many years ago, you know, I was all in 100% ready to go. And then as time has went on, it's kind of stagnated a little bit, but learning from someone like Seki Sensei has completely reinvigorated my interest in all of these things. It's completely made me go, okay, I'm going to give this 110%. So that's the change that I've experienced.
The third question I asked was, how would you recommend Asayama Shinryu to someone who is deciding on a dojo?
So my situation, and I assume a lot of people that are looking specifically to join an online online dojo, there's nothing really nearby. There's nothing anywhere nearby there's no dojo anywhere nearby that you can go and train in person. You're looking for someone who can teach you through Zoom lessons. And if you're skeptical, give it a shot. Sensei is so great at being able to spot every little. It's actually kind of mind-blowing to me sometimes, because he uses a little screen and it's a Zoom call, so there's even littler screens, and he'll be watching and he'll spot someone making just one little thing, and he'll be like, hey, and he'll point it out and he'll walk you through what's going on, what he's seeing, how to fix it. And he's the Soke of the Ruha, and you're learning directly from him, and it's it's really something I don't think you're going to get anywhere else.
I suppose I would start with the Let's Ask Seki Sensei YouTube channel. Personally, maybe I'd go through and find a couple of videos that I think would be good foundation. Like, okay, this is what Seki Sensei is all about. This is what Asayama Ichiden is all about. My next advice would be, if you're even a little bit on the fence, sign up and try it. Show up to a few classes. Don't just show up to one class, show up to a few classes. Because again, going back to my own personal experience, I didn't feel connected until I attended a live class. And I think that's what, people who criticize online or distance learning fail to realize, because they've never had this experience before, that, maybe you show up and the teacher talks to the class, but not to you. They talk to a group or to the camera, but there's no personal level experience there. But that has not been the case with Seki Sensei. Absolutely personable teacher, completely pays attention to what you're doing, never makes you feel like he's ignoring you or anything like that. And he is watching out for key details. So if you're interested in learning EI or anything that Seki Sensei teaches or that's offered by the online classes like Shunjo, for example, definitely sign up, take a couple of classes. It may convince you that it's not for you, but I don't think that that's the common experience, because almost everyone I've spoken with that's interacted with Seki Sensei on some level has walked away with an extremely positive, experience. It's so, I don't know, it's so gratifying, I guess is the word I'm going to use, but just being in class and having that experience, and you'll start to grow more the more you get involved as a student or whatever.
The fourth question I asked was, what advice would you give new online lesson students of Asayama Ichiden?
As with anything, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And you've done a great job of setting up the resources. We have the archive. We have a year and a half now of trainings that you can go through, and whatever the technique is that you're wanting to focus on, you can go back and focus on that through the archives. The other thing, other than that, is take advantage of having Seki Sensei right there with you, and Tsukada Sensei and Kurosawa Sensei. They want you to ask questions, and I know, I'm sort of an introvert. It's hard for me to be outgoing and sometimes be in the spotlight and be focused on. But if you reach out, say, can you check my form? They're happy to. They want to engage you and teach you in that way. So if you do that, train a couple times outside of the classes a week, you'll get out of it what you put into it.
So we've touched on a few of these things already, but my advice for new students is keep coming to class. You're going to reach points where you're frustrated. It happens. That's part of the training. You're going to reach a point where you're going to be like, I'll never get this, or you may feel that way. You may not. Some people may not reach that point, but the point is that you don't stop. You don't give up. If this is something you really want, then keep training. Oh, you're going to have to help me with this one, but Sensei told a story recently. Was it the founder of Asayama Ichiden said, I have two arms, you have two arms. The only difference is that I've trained more, or eventually trained to a point where you will be as good as I am if you stick with it. Is the point.
Yeah.
So definitely new students, anybody who's showing up and oh yeah, I've got all the equipment, I've got my Iaito, I've got my Dogion, I've got everything going, but I still am not understanding. The other advice I would give, along with showing up, is ask for feedback. It is very intimidating to get up in front of a lot of people and mess up. You're going to mess up. You get up there and you go, okay, I know it's not perfect. I know there's going to be something wrong with it, but you have to do it. It's part of the process. You have to get up there. You have to volunteer. This was difficult for me at the beginning, so I can speak from experience. It is difficult to get up in front of people, but it's part of the process. Because going back to what we said about Seki Sensei, and if you're afraid to show failure, or you're afraid to fail in front of your family, you can't really be like a part of the group or the community or whatever. So volunteer. Raise your hand. Hey, check my form. Let me tell me what I'm doing wrong. and keep practicing. As a side note, away from the classes, I would also recommend, which I think you guys have recommended this as well, is if you're able to record yourself and then watch yourself and then compare yourself to Sensei side by side. What am I doing differently than he's doing? The last bit of advice I would say is take as many classes as you can. Take whatever you feel like you're able to. Like for me, I try to take both of the classes on the weekend because it's just more training and more opportunities to get checked and to learn from Sensei. I take as many classes as I can and I try to rearrange around that so I can be as successful in this style and learn as much as I can. And I think, a few of the other guys do the same thing. And they're also, we have some really incredible students in the group. I look to them, honestly, for myself. Obviously, Sensei is the prime example and the leader, the master. But you can also look at your other students, look to them for guidance, look to them to say, hey, what are they doing differently than for me? Ask them questions, that kind of thing. Be a part of the community. That's like what we were just discussing. If you involve yourself in the community, you'll be more successful because you'll get more, not just feedback, but reassurance. You'll get more encouragement. More people will be like, okay, yeah, I see you're working really hard. Let's go. Let's do this together. That kind of thing. That was a lot of advice for new students. I apologize.
No, it's great. It's great. The last question I asked was, what are your future goals as an Asayama Jinryu trainee?
For the foreseeable future, I want to help the online community, the newer students, learn the basics. I know a lot of them struggle because the pace of the class is pretty fast if it's your first time. Take the burden off the senseis. An hour isn't enough time to focus on those little details for every individual. So I would love to help people figure out what they're doing, what they need to be doing, and get them to where they need to be, and just help the online community grow at the moment. Mm-hmm. And personally, I'd love to reach 5th Dan at some point. It's going to be a couple years from here. In the meantime, I would love to learn the special weapons classes that are coming up. I'd love to learn the Naginata. Would be amazing if that comes out. So I'm real excited for the future of what we got going on in this Ruha.
Would you want to actually open up a in-person offline dojo where you live, or would that be something you like to do?
I mean, I would love to get there at some point, and by the time I get there, I don't know if I'll still be in the town that I'm in, but if I am, then I would love to try to grow the kobudo interest in this town. The reason, I suspect there's more people interested in it than I'm aware of, but it's a small town in the middle of America. There's not a whole lot of people that are even aware of it. So hopefully I can do something to grow the interest around here. That'd be amazing.
So right now, my goal is obviously to keep training, advancing, learn as much as I can from Sensei. Long-term goal, I'd like to be reach 5th Dan. I mean, who wouldn't? That wants to train for real, and be able to teach. As a potential club leader, I'll be able to help out in the community, which I really would love to do, and that's something I'm going to work really hard on. But just to be able to teach, locally in my area, I'd like to be able to teach all ages, kids that want to learn, a little bit of Japanese culture, martial arts culture, that kind of thing. The other long-term goal I have is on a level that I can't really even fully explain. You, Shogo, Seki Sensei, y'all have helped me accomplish a dream that I've always had, to train in this kind of martial art with this level of depth and complexity and a nearly 400-year-old tradition. That's incredible. I love that I'm a part of this, and that's like a dream come true for me. So what I would like to do is dedicate as much as I can to helping you guys reach the dream of 7,000 students. I know that's a big goal for you guys. Everything I can do, everything I can commit to and help with, everything I can contribute to, that's my goal now.
Lastly, there's an important message for Steven, Daniel, and all future instructors of Asayama Jinryu.
広めるのも大事なんですけど、自分の地元で自分と同レベルでね、い 稽古できる人を育てるっていうぐらいのつもりがないとダメ。一人ではこれはダメなんですよ、最終的には。だから自分が上達するとともに、人を育てる能力も大事になってくる。要は自分の追いつくぐらいの育て方ができないと。
なるほど。
そうね。自分を越すようなやつは嫌だっていうね、そういう接し方教え方ってよくあると思うんですけど、それじゃあ残らんのですよ、ね、そのエリアその土地に伝わらないんですね。そうだからもう自分が持ってるものはね、ついてくる人に惜しみなく与えるっていうね、それぐらいのあれで育てていただきたい。やっぱりお二人にはね、新しく来る人に憧れられる存在になっていただきたいと思います。
Asayama Shinryu requires practicing in pairs, so you should never be satisfied with just practicing the techniques on your own. You must train with a partner to truly learn and understand the form of Asayama Shinryu. When doing this, always have the mindset of sharing everything you know with your partner without holding back any teachings.
Everyone, if you're interested in joining the online lessons, if you want to learn more about how the club leaders and the branch leader system works, it'd be great if you look at our website or our Patreon page. And our goal, by the way, the ultimate goal is to revive the golden age of Asayama Shinryu. We have 7,000 students. If you'd like to help us in this goal, it'd be great if you check out our online lessons. Thank you very much for watching this video. 皆さんどうもありがとうございました。
Interested in learning katana skills from 22nd Headmaster of Kobudo Asayama Shinryu, Seki Sensei? We hold the best online lessons with perfect English interpretation that anyone can access worldwide. Every lesson will be recorded for you to rewatch anytime, and official down ranks will be provided to prove your progress. Higher down rank holders will also be authorized to open their own dojo in the future. Join us in our ultimate dream of reviving the golden age of Asayama Shinryu, when there were 7,000 students of the style. Check out the description box or pinned comment to sign up now and for more information.